I would.
Gentlemen, let's move on quickly. The battle for the throne of Kano rages and the context is becoming too close to call. Latest development in the crisis is that a federal high court sitting in Kano has ordered the state government to pay 10 million naira as compensation for breaching the fundamental human rights of the 15th Emir of Kano, Aminu Ado Bayero. The presiding judge, Justice Simon Ahmad-Beda, described the order given by Governor Abba Yusuf for the arrest of Aminu Bayero as unlawful. Justice Ahmad-Beda also restrained the State Attorney General, the Nigeria Police Force, and the State Commissioner of Police from arresting, detaining, threatening, intimidating, harassing the 15th Emir, or further interfering with his fundamental human rights. Bikio, let me start with you. Are you surprised?
No, and let me use this opportunity to thank Justice Ahmad-Beda, because he said in open court to the hearing of everyone that one of the things that judges do not like is people misinterpreting their judgments, misreading their decisions. And he mentioned me in his court as one of the journalists who takes his time to study judgments before commenting on them. I feel really indebted to His Lordship Justice Ahmad-Beda for the honor of singling me out as a Nigerian journalist who takes his time to study judgments before coming on air to analyze such judgments. I think that the point is clear. Many people have told me, oh, they had lawyers saying that the Federal High Court has no jurisdiction on chieftaincy matters. What a lot of these people do not know is that where human rights violation is involved, where the victim is seeking the enforcement of his fundamental rights, in chieftaincy matters, the Federal High Court can assume jurisdiction. Hearing people who are senior lawyers, including a professor of law, coming out to say that the Federal High Court has no jurisdiction in chieftaincy matters without looking at the fact that the appeal court had ruled in the matter of Mustapha Jokolo, the former emir of Gwandu, that when it comes to the enforcement of the human rights, the rights of the applicant, the Federal High Court can assume jurisdiction. That is the judgment of the Federal of the Court of Appeal, and it subsists till today. So for people to come on air, including people who are learned, including a professor, to say no, appeal court, court of the Federal High Court does not have jurisdiction, I'm really, really shocked. I'm surprised, because as somebody who is not a lawyer, I know this. And there are cases in the past, apart from Mustapha Jokolo's matter, Muhammadu Sanusi II, the former CBN governor who has just been reinstated as Emir of Kano, he approached a Federal High Court in Abuja after he was dethroned by Governor Ganduje. And on November 30, 2021, the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja nullified his banishment to away in Nasarawa State. And the court ruled that it was a violation of his fundamental human rights. The court also ruled that it was wrong to forcefully remove him from his palace at that time. So, and the court, the Federal High Court, headed by Justice Chikere, declared null and void the 2019 law that was relied upon to remove Sanusi and then banished him. So, in this case, Justice Amobeda affirmed that the governor of Kano State was wrong to have arrogated to himself the power to order the arrest of the emir. And the judge affirmed that the governor had no power to use, what's it called? It had no power to order his arrest in the manner that he did. The judgment took 2 hours. And the point that the judge was saying in the LA was, if the Kano governor had state police, what would he have done? So he slammed a penal fee against the state government for the way the matter was handled and ordering the arrest of the emir. I want to praise the judge for one thing. In giving that judgment, the judge did not refer to chieftaincy matters. He dealt with the matter of the enforcement of the rights of Emir Aminu Ado Bayero. And he affirmed that the government had no power, had no reason in the world to give that order, to order the security agencies to arrest the emir. If they had done that, it would most likely have led to violence in Kano, because the matter is a very emotive one. And the city is divided. There are those who want Sanusi, there are those who do not want him. Remember, I've said before that they come from the same family. Absolutely. Sanusi was raised under the roof of Aminu Ado Bayero's father. They were living in the same house. They were brought up in the same house. Now politicians have found a way to divide them. If you read what Emir Sanusi said, I think yesterday or day before yesterday, he referred to what I had said earlier, that we are brothers, but some people have divided us. That is what I found really bad in this matter, because Sanusi is also married to Emir Aminu Ado Bayero's younger sister. So you can see two brothers or cousins divided by politicians, by self-seeking politicians. So this is the situation. So this matter, I'm not surprised, because I know that once it comes to the enforcement of the rights of a chieftaincy title holder, of a traditional ruler, the Federal High Court is permitted to exercise jurisdiction. So this is where it ends on this matter, because the Emir Sanusi, Emir Ado Bayero brought the issue of infringement of his rights. You were supposed to allow him 48 hours. You announced that you will allow him 48 hours to pack his things from the palace. But before 48 hours, the state government barged into the palace. They didn't give him the 48 hours that they promised to allow him to move his things. They moved forcefully into the palace, and the newly reinstated emir took custody of the palace. That is an infringement, that was an infringement of his rights. So,
but BKO, the Kano state government
done the right thing.
But the Kano State government has rejected this 10 million fine on the basis that the police have continued to take orders from above and not from him.
The police are not, what they are saying is neither here nor there. This is a decision by the court. And until another court says, a superior court says, no, this judgment is wrong, the state government has to obey it. It's the same way that they demolish people's homes and the court ordered them to pay compensation. Kano state government has begun paying compensation for people's shops and buildings that they demolished the other day. So politicians will make mistakes. But we as journalists, we are not interested in the politics that they are playing. Yes, the governor said he believes that the police are taking instructions from Abuja or from whatever. That is not my business. My business is not to investigate from where the police are taking their instructions. My own is to look at the way the case panned out. And I'm saying that where human rights violation or is suspected that somebody's human rights, whether that person is an emir or a traditional ruler or an oba, where his rights are suspected to have been infringed, the Federal High Court can assume jurisdiction on such matters. And this is what happened in the matter of Sanusi. He got a Federal High Court in Abuja to declare his banishment to away in Nasarawa State null and void. The banishment of Mustafa Jokolo, former emir of Gwandu, was also nullified by the court. You know? So the Federal High Court can... Why didn't Sanusi go before a Kano High Court? Why didn't he take the matter before a Kano High Court? He took it to a Federal High Court and he got judgment. Today, the court's judgment is that as a Nigerian, he can move from any part of Nigeria that he feels from one point to another within our country. You cannot localize him to one community and say he cannot move out of the community. That is the judgment of the court. And he can visit even his hometown, where you removed him as king. He's free to visit the place. Because Mustafa Jokolo, after winning in court, visited Birnin Kebbi, where he used to be the traditional ruler, and he was well received. So we need to understand these issues and not simply listening to people who, most of the time, they've not even read the judgment, and they will go and lie against judges that the judge said this, that the judge said that. It is not right. We need to
Thank you.
get a
Thank you, BKO.
on the judgment before making our position known.
All right. Thank you, BKO. Johnson, I wonder how you react to this court judgment.
Well, I feel good that there is peace in Kano. Like BKO said, any slight thing on this matter that people see as bias will spark riots. And we know the way Kano turns out when it comes to reacting to issues. It's one of the reasons I've praised the courts and I've praised the security agencies involved in maintaining peace in Kano, especially the Commissioner of Police, CP Sani Gumel. They've done very well, because if the supporters of any of the two parties, if they've seen anything that appears to want to offend their position, so as in defending the other person or backing one against the other, there would have been violence. And I think what the court has done, for me, is perfect. Don't allow injustice to fester. If you allow it today, it will be allowed again and again and again until that position is upturned by a higher court. Sanusi, like we said, got this same kind of judgment in his own favor. So why not Bayero? He's also entitled to it. It's a judgment. The Kano state government can go to court and seek to upturn it. The Court of Appeal is there. The Supreme Court is there as a final arbiter. Like I said to myself some days back, this drama is going to take a very long time to end. So the best thing is for the parties involved to maintain neutrality. Let them be neutral. And largely, for me, because the Kano state government can be neutral again, that's taking a position. That lies with the judiciary and the security agencies.
All right. Emeka, I think sometimes I undermine the power of a Nigerian politician, because if Emir Sanusi could say, we are brothers, but politicians have found a way to divide us, this speaks volumes about how powerful Nigerian politicians are.
Why won't they be powerful? Are they not the ones who create the levers of power? Yes, they are the ones, determining, taking actions, policies, and all of that. But the interesting thing is that the court has actually assumed a definite position on the issue of fundamental human rights, enforcement of fundamental human rights, which has been a major problem in Nigeria, and has festered, impunity and, the abuse of the rule of law. So I believe the higher courts will actually
You think this will be appealed?
Yeah, they will appeal it, yeah, because I won't be surprised if the state government, for instance, says that it took that action, asking the police to arrest to arrest Bayero because one of the ruling of the Federal High Court, that there was a dispute about whether it was delivered in Nigeria or the US, and the likely breach of, law and order. So I know definitely the courts, yes, the higher courts will take a final, we will definitely address the issue of, whether his fundamental human rights were actually breached, and whether the state government, the Kano state government, had the right to make such orders, based on perhaps security reports they received of the likely breakdown of law and order. So definitely they didn't send people to go and arrest him. They asked the police to arrest him, which is a normal thing, like going to the police station to file a complaint. Was it in order to ask the police to arrest him? Well, I believe the higher courts will determine that. All
right, BKO. Definitely we've not seen the end to this case, but is there any lesson traditional institutions or politicians can learn from this? And do you also think that the authority that comes with this tool, the reverence that comes with the exalted seat of the emir, is still there or may return after this case ends, sort of?
Let me also say, I hear people say, oh, governors have the right to fire, governors have the power to fire traditional rulers. Again, it is wrong to assume that on any premise you can fire a traditional ruler. The courts in Nigeria have ordered that Mustapha Jokolo be reinstated because he didn't get fair hearing. So no governor has absolute power to remove a traditional ruler. You must follow the law. And you must also give the traditional ruler fair hearing. In this case, again, just reacting to what Emeka said, you gave the emir 48 hours to move his things out. But you didn't permit him to move his things out within 48 hours. You quickly rushed the man that you have just reinstated into the palace. Is that not an infringement of his rights? Again, the courts have ruled that you cannot banish a traditional ruler if a traditional ruler has the power to move around in our country, except he has committed an offense. In this case, you cannot say that the traditional ruler, the former emir, the deposed emir, Aminu Ado Bayero, cannot travel to his hometown because the judgments of our courts have invalidated the idea of banishing a traditional ruler. So he can travel to his hometown the same way that Mustafa Jokolo, after the judgment that favored him, traveled to Birnin Kebbi. So if you assume that a person should not come into Kano, is that not an infringement of his right to movement? So these judges know what they are doing. Let the state government go and appeal if it believes that it has been wrongly accused of infringing on the rights of the Emir Aminu Ado Bayero. Let them appeal. But you cannot say you will not obey the decision of the court. It's only a superior court that can render that decision invalid. And if indeed, as we all know, they gave him 48 hours to pack his things, and they didn't wait for the 48 hours before forcefully taking control of the place, I don't know how you can argue that that's not an infringement of someone's right. And then you order somebody to be arrested for the crime of coming back to his hometown. He didn't go to the palace.
All right.
He just came back into Kano, and then you ordered his arrest. How do you explain that? Does that make any sense? So these are the things. Politicians make these mistakes, and they need to be told that, look, there are certain things that you don't do. They accuse the NSA of being behind this problem.
All right.
But they had to apologize. In the end, they apologized to the NSA. The deputy governor apologized.